There we are. Hi, my name is Andrea Boykowicz, and I'm the director at Oakland Planning and Development Corporation. We are one of the registered community organizations for Oakland, and we are the registered community organization for the Schenley Farms Historic District. And you are all here this evening as a development activities meeting to review and to have the opportunity to ask questions of Ms. Cinema's window replacement. I'm so sorry, but could you refresh my memory? 3233, or is it 20? Sorry.
4233.
4233. Thank you so much. Sorry.
No problem.
Some layered screens and I'm not looking at my information at the moment. And so a development activities meeting is this is not any place where anything's going to be decided. There's no evaluation that we're conducting as a part of all of this. This is just an opportunity for the public to know what it is that you are planning in advance of a public hearing that you're having downtown. So you will be appearing before the Historic Review Commission that has certain kinds of concerns about changes made to buildings in historic districts. And this is just part of the process of public review that comes in advance of having those kinds of hearings downtown. With us this evening is Christian Umbach, who is our senior planner for Oakland from the Department of City Planning. And I believe that the rest of the people who are on the call here are your neighbors. And so I'm going to ask Christian if he can say a quick word if I've missed anything about this BRCO's role and the dam process. And otherwise, I would encourage you to take it away with presenting your project. People are going to want to see what it is that you're sending to the Historic Review Commission and a basic explanation of what it is that you are going to be doing to your windows. And then people have the opportunity to ask questions. And that'll be it. So without further ado, Christian.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Andrea. And it's good to see you all this evening. No, I think you covered most of it. This is a time to, present so the community can understand what's going on and ask questions, provide comments. I do want to, send a thank you to OPDC as well as the Schenley Farms Civic Association for bringing this meeting so quickly together. We do apologize on the city's end. There was a little bit of a glitch in terms of making sure this got to a development activities meeting. So we apologize for that. And we're grateful that we were able to fast track it and get it this evening. So thank you to everyone. And I'll pass it back over to Andrea. Thank you.
So I believe, Leah, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, and I apologize. I didn't realize the expectation was I would be sharing. I did send documents. So
would you like, if you prefer, I can fetch them, but.
Okay. Why don't I just start with an overview of the project? And yeah, I guess if you wouldn't mind pulling up, I don't know if you prefer to start with the application or the proposal from Pella. We also have some sample windows of what we are proposing.
1 moment.
And where in the house the windows that we're proposing to.
Andrea, I can try to find them on my screen if you want.
I have them up and I was just pulling them up so that they were not messed among my other things, and I was just going to share my screen. 1 moment.
Sorry, communication.
Not at all. As Christian was saying, we pulled this together in a bit of a hurry. So great. Can you all see?
Yep, we can.
Okay, great. So here is your application. And I believe attached to it, you had, is that it? Is that the only thing?
No, what's probably most helpful is the application or the photograph proposal from Pella. Yeah. So we had a Pella rep come out with a contractor that we used when we purchased the home to do some interior work. And he measured all of the windows, understands the requirements of the historic district, and proposed a type of Pella window that is meant for historic preservation, or not preservation, to look historic in nature. They are aluminum clad, and they will be, we are proposing traditional double hung windows. From the exterior, they will look exactly as they do today. They really, our intent in changing the windows is for insulation purposes. This was our first winter in the home, and we certainly felt the effects of the cold winter. And while we love the style of the home and the windows, want something that is more sufficient for
The hot and the cold.
the
Yeah.
hot and the cold, correct?
Understood. I'm so sorry. I seem to have thought that you had your photographs of your house attached to the
Yes.
application, but you didn't. It was just an insert in the email that you sent. So if you
Okay.
can- just a moment.
Yeah, and while we don't have the Pella rep on it, if there's any technical questions of the windows or the design, he will be on the historic review meeting.
Right.
We're looking to get on in April.
Wait 1 second. So sorry.
I'm just
You
saying
would
if I
think that
pull them up.
I would know how to do this again. So sorry. Some of these photographs are sideways, but I think that the ones that we need.
Yes, and just for clarification purposes, this is just to understand the material and the look of the windows. They have the crossing on them in the pictures. The actual windows that we're proposing will not. They will look identical to as they are today. And we will not be replacing any stained glass. It is the windows, as you see, that have been highlighted. And again, from the exterior will look as they do today.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
I just make a comment. I mean, Leah and I are dealing with the same issue, which, these single pane windows are 100 years old, and they have no insulative value at all. And maintaining them is more expensive than replacing them. And as long as the aesthetic remains the same after the windows are installed, I don't see the problem here. I mean, I know a number of other neighbors who are thinking about doing the same thing. And honestly, I feel good that Leah is on board with doing this as well. And she's having the Pella rep join her on the HRC meeting. I'm doing Marvin windows, and the Marvin guy is going to be on our Zoom call on March the 6th to answer any technical questions, because I know Rob had questions about. I'm not a window expert. I'm sure Leah isn't either. Had questions on my call about, tell me more about the windows. I'm like, hell, I don't know. The grid's going to be the same. It's going to look the same from the outside. They're going to have UV filtering on the windows. Beyond that, who gives a shit? But anyway, I mean, so it's one of those things where, I think Leah and her husband are doing the right thing, and I feel like I am as well. And I don't understand why it takes this much drama to get new windows in a house.
With forgiveness, or if you will forgive me, rather, I don't know that there's any drama that's being associated with this. Like I said, this is the standard procedure in advance.
Andrew, you're absolutely right. You were wonderful in my meeting, and I appreciate that. So
yeah,
anyway,
there's no one is providing any kind of drama of any kind. So this is really purely for information, and
I think if you in reading the current guidelines for the historic district, it talks about replacing with kind, in kind. So if you take that literally, it's wood with wood. And I think that we all know how difficult and expensive that can be. And so I do think the Historic Review Commission is looking at different materials that could be used in that category of sufficiently in kind to do that. They haven't, I've not seen an official list from them. I know that they're going to be revised. They have funding now, I think, for us to look at revising the guidelines of historic preservation and what is good and what is not, so that's a lot more transparent than it is at the moment. So it's just, I think that's just the statement as is. And I think we certainly leave it up to the Historic Review Commission to make that judgment. That's not my judgment. It's the judgment of the Historic Review Commission, just whether those materials are sufficiently in kind. And it sounds like you've done due diligence in trying to identify a company and a product that should fit that bill. And so, Godspeed.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. We did talk with the Pella rep about wood versus the aluminum clad, which is meant to replicate the look of wood, but for maintenance purposes was recommended. So that is what we are asking to do, recognizing the long-term maintenance will be less with this aluminum clad product while still kind of giving the look and feel of the historic nature.
Good.
And to the point of it being, the winters in these homes that are make it obvious what the shortcomings of the 100-year-old windows are. We're coming up, windows are basically built to last about 100 years before they need to be replaced or sufficiently updated. And I would imagine a number of your neighbors are going to be hitting that at more or less the same time. So we may have quite a few of these kinds of review meetings coming up. So perhaps we can streamline this process.
Oh, we do love the beautiful kind of waviness of the lead glass. I will say I'll miss that if this does get approved. But yes, I think for efficiency purposes, it's
Good deal. Big
looking
improvement.
forward to it.
Yeah.
You said you were not replacing any stained glass, but you said something just now about lead glass.
Or maybe they're not lead glass. I don't. The
May I
windows.
Leah, may I offer a comment?
Yeah.
So I don't have lead glass. What I have, and I think what I've seen on your place just a couple hour ago, is you have the grids are pewter / lead between the panes of glass. Nobody makes that window anymore. That's you cannot replace that window in kind. What you can do is when you talk to the Pella rep is if it's a 5/8 grid or a 1/2 grid or a whatever the number is, whatever the width is of the muttons, which is their official term, is they will match that for you. But I'm sorry, you can't, to Rob's point, we're not putting wood windows back in here. We're going to do something that's technology changes. Hell, if technology didn't change, I'd have a Model T and be able to park it in the garage because that's how wide our driveway is. That's how the house was built and designed for a Model T. But technology changes. Life goes on. It's 100 years later. Let's replace the windows in a sensible way that looks the same. The aesthetics are what matter here, and you should have a good R value on your windows.
Well, the Historic Review Commission honors the terms and the description of the historic district, and those are determined at the establishment of the historic district, right? Each historic district has its own things, its own parameters about what it is that it cares about and what it is that it's specifically looking for. So, it's there's always going to be differences of what it is that matters and what doesn't matter. But the Historic Review Commission has a set of documents that they're working from to be able to make that determination. And to the point of whether or not it's possible to replace lead windows, I'm still not 100% certain I understand exactly, Leah, what it is that you have, but leaded windows where you have individual panes of glass that are mounted in a leaded frame, even if the glass is not stained or colored in any way, those are those can be built. It's that isn't the technology is not been lost. I assure you, there's an entire industry of leaded glass in Pittsburgh.
And I apologize, I may have misstated. I think just the glass itself has a little bit of a uniqueness to it that, you know, is just part of being 100 years old.
And the other piece of the equation is, I'm sorry, at what cost are we talking about if you are talking leaded glass? I mean, it's one of those things where it's cost prohibitive to live in this neighborhood. If every time you replace a window, it has to be something, you have to find a craftsman who can create something that they did 100 years ago. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, like I said, technology goes forward. You know, this is, you know, obviously, you know, my thoughts on this. As long as the aesthetics match, I think we should be able to do these windows and move forward with life with two paned insulative glass that looks nice, protects UV light from coming in, and works for everybody. I don't, and honestly, Rob, I don't understand why we don't have. We should probably have that spelled out on the Schenley Farms website.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that there may be a major revision in initiation of a revision of those guidelines. And I think there should be a better defined process of how to do it in Schenley Farms, because there is not a clear process. But I think identifying, you know, a group of people that would sort of own this historic preservation document, and you know, so I think within some months there'll be work on revision of those guidelines, and I think that's going to be a good time to have that. So, and I think we'll certainly make a revision in the process and making sure how, you know, to clarify it a lot more than it is now on the website. So that's certainly something we'll do.
And I think that's important because there are, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but hypothetically, I know of people who've replaced all their windows with no approval from the HRC, no meetings, no anything, and they look fine. No one said beans to them. So,
well,
you know, as a courtesy to you, when I told you about my project, I said we're replacing the windows, and you asked me to go through HRC, which I've done. And honestly, I feel like I've just lost 2 months on this project at this point.
Well,
Yeah, thank you so much for your patience in this evening. If there's any other information that you have to share about your window replacement project, we can talk about that now, or otherwise I think we're done, right?
All right, well, we appreciate everyone taking the time.
Thank you so much for your time as well. Christian, is there anything that we ought to have done that we didn't do? I hate to keep invoking you like a cop, but
No, I mean, I think this is good discussion, and I'll definitely be in my notes kind of sharing this back with the HRC and also the planning staff. I think, you know, we want to make sure we're adapting moving forward. And then also one other note, you know, at some point down the line, we are reviewing the threshold for development activities meetings. So if we would determine that, you know, small scale projects such as window replacements would fall beneath that threshold, that's something we're going to look through as well. So,
Christian, just out of curiosity, are my instincts / Leah and her husband's instincts accurate on, look, we're going to maintain the same look and feel of the windows. We just want them to be up to 21st century standards. Is that a reasonable thing? I mean, we're not looking to make huge changes as far as the house looks. We just want it to not be drafty as hell in the winter.
Right.
so again,
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think I'll leave that up to the HRC, but I mean, I do think they seek to find that balance. And I think that's the work that we hope that they can, you know, find what that balance is. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a pleasant evening.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right.
Thanks for-
Yep,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very
Good
much.
night.
Have a
Thanks.
nice evening, everyone.